My name is Dean Furby, and this is my Evolutionary Biology video recording. By now, everyone should know what COVID-19, otherwise known as SARS-CoV-2, is and what it has done. It had swept across the world in a rapid fashion, infecting and killing millions of people. If you fast forward to 2025, we have seen great improvements in prohibiting this virus from spreading. Vaccines, public health measures, natural immunity, and a better understanding of the virus itself being to blame for its steady declination. But even as we have seen a retrogression in SARS-CoV-2 and its malignant presence, it has shown to be continuously evolving due to natural selection. The picture on the top left, tells us how it goes through this process. We can see that each viral strain and phylogeny, like Lambda, arose independently through similar mutations, and that each variant is arriving at similar solutions. And by tracing the parallelism between the branches, we'll find that each strain is arriving at similar solutions, indicative of convergent evolution. Once again, when we look at this recently published paper, we see how these great improvements have limited COVID-19's replication and are now shaping its evolution. Specifically, it shows that the convergent evolution shown in the image across multiple strains reveals the virus's response to the host cellular defenses. Keeping all of this in mind, Ting Zhang and her fellow researchers set out to answer this question in her paper. What does this tell us about the virus's future, our role in shaping it, and why it is so important in the first place? Well, we have two main hypotheses. What is happening even? Tim Zhang and her team imposed two key hypotheses once again for the reasoning behind this, which is represented through each diagram. Hypothesis 1 is represented by the picture on the left. It states that host cells are limiting COVID-19 replication. This hypothesis focuses on how cells fight back through interferon signaling, which blocks the virus from replicating. On the right, we find hypothesis 2. This diagram shows that the virus adapts and those beneficial mutations, or at least for the virus, allows it to bypass the host defense mechanism and replicate successfully. The paper suggests these two pressures are pretty much always at odds with each other. The host cell will want to find ways to defend against the virus, and the virus will want to adapt accordingly to what the environment of the cell is during that time. And that is what their experiments demonstrate, whether or not these mutations really do help the virus escape host defenses. As for the context of the results, to test both of these hypotheses, to figure out what if they were true, Ting Zhang and associates designed a series of experiments using human lung cells and engineered viral strains. They took different non-mutated and mutated COVID-19 variants and exposed all of them to cells with active IFN signaling. They exposed wild-type virus to interferon treatment and mutated virus to interferon treatment. And what they found was that the wild-type replication was blocked and that the mutated replication was allowed, as you can see there in the diagram to the left. Then they introduced both wild-type and mutated viruses into each condition. Once again, the results were that the mutated cells replicated not just a little bit, but way more efficiently, even in the context of active IFNs or interferons. Also, they discovered that the non-mutated cells were being blocked by the interferons, the complete opposite of the mutated cells. This means that these mutations were not just random, but adaptive as well. Their experiments proved a known evolutionary theory. The evolutionary tug-of-war, as shown on the right, between host cells and viruses is very real. And so what do these findings mean? What does it mean even for us? Well, this means that even if we have developed greater counteraction to SARS-CoV-2 through technology, social awareness, natural immunities, the virus is still ultimately evolving and is evolving in response to us. Our IFN defense systems is shaping the future and our future with it. Additionally, these mutations are adaptive, which could possibly endanger the lives of millions of people across the globe once more, if nothing, evolutionarily speaking, is done. That is why evolutionary pressures are necessary for both the virus's replication and the host cell's defense system. The virus is changing because of how our cells are changing, and that is why studies like this matter, because they help us understand what the virus is doing now and what it might do next, and ultimately, how our actions will influence their evolutionary path. Thank you for listening. This is Dean.